Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the lunch zone.
Are we live? There we go. We good?
We good?
Yep.
Welcome to the lunch zone. We are, we have a brand new setup and a brand new computer.
Yeah.
Oh crap!
It says cat's mustache.
Change,
so
the
I'll
first
fix
scene.
that.
No, you can do. You can just change the scene there. There we go.
Clever. Okay, there we go.
All right, cool. Today we're playing Superflight. So here we go. This is a very straightforward game.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get close to the ground, and that gives you points. And so
Okay.
all you do is fly around, trying not to crash.
But also getting close enough
Right.
where you almost did.
Right.
Okay. I understand why Eric. So I asked Eric, and he happened to answer slightly. Ooh. That's funny. Congratulating failure. And he was like, it's not first person, but you might get motion sickness. I'm like, okay, I'll take some motion sickness stuff today.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh no, not really.
Yeah.
Oops.
But your second crash does not get
No,
congratulated.
no. So yeah, this is in line. This game is like $3, but it's whoa crap. But it is totally. I love the simplicity of it. It's very straightforward. You don't need to have too high of a concept here.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, crap.
Is this another game that has like mushy controllers?
Mushy controllers, what do you mean?
Like it's not very reactive.
No, it's pretty reactive, I would say. You can definitely try it.
I definitely do not.
I would say it's fairly reactive. Now, these are randomly generated mountains. Although it does keep plopping me into the same one, what I can do is there should be a warp somewhere around here. And then you can change mountains on the fly.
I think it's interesting that they make like the little cash register sound.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of funny, right? I mean, we were talking about sort of commodities in games before, and
What?
so, yeah. The way the point system works is it's dependent on not only how close you are to a hard surface, but if you go through like a tunnel like this one, it like triples the points or something. Oh shit. Whoa!
What is that?
So you want, I mean, it awards you for taking risks, right? That's kind of the currency of it. Oh, oh. Move this out of the way here. Okay. Am I still being picked up?
Yes, you are.
Awesome. Okay. Oh wow, this is like giving me carpal tunnel in the middle of my arm.
Yep. The slowest roll on that one.
Yeah. Whoa. There's a lot of warp things here. I feel like I should take them. Oh my god, I totally missed that. How did I do that?
I'll tell you something you didn't miss.
That's right, the wall.
Yup.
What is it, Kelly? The wall.
Nice.
This also has another global leaderboard, just like Devil Daggers. What the?
That was rude.
That was rude.
Are you able to watch the top scorer?
These ones I don't think you can watch them. Ooh, that's an ugly color.
Yeah. Not so much the color, but just like the foggy.
Ooh, Yeah, I don't know if I could have gotten out of there. Yeah, just the sort of sick Los Angeles haze here.
It's funny because at the same time, the cash register ding is a very satisfying sound in a way.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to hear that ding too often.
That's true. You want to... But it kind of makes sense in terms of, like, you cashing in the points, because one of the risks here is the longer you go, the more... Oh, shoot. So that 239, I don't get it.
Right, okay.
So you have to...
Pull off.
You actually have to, pull off the... Whoa! Oh my god.
Whoa! That was lit. See, we were playing the fucking Dust Sweeper dude game.
Oh yeah.
And one of the problems we were having was just like how slow you were forced to go sometimes.
Mm.
But over here, I'd be scared to go fast.
Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go. Whoa, where's even the mountain? Yeah, and you kind of like pick up speed, depending on how you... Whoa! Oh!
Oh, that was rough.
You kind of like pick up speed depending on what angle you're facing, and you know, I'm not sure how fast you're falling per se, because you can get a pretty good you can sort of fly for a pretty good long period of time. Whoa! Oh! Smack.
I like this color scheme though.
Yeah, this is nice. This is nice. Yeah, nice and relaxing. So yeah, this is. I mean, it's very straightforward, and it's definitely a nice time killer. Whoa, shoot.
This reminds me. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just also going to say that, you know, it has that compulsory feel that a lot of games tend to have. You know, where you die and you can very, very quickly start over. You know, you don't have to wait too long, loading screen or anything like that. It just go right ahead, you know. So there's that addictive quality to it.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
That was rude.
Yeah,
there was no way out of that one. I remember a game called The Impossible Game that came out in... Whoa! Sorry. That came out in, like, 08-ish. And, it was very similar where, you're just a little box and you hit A to jump and you have to jump over the spikes and not jump on a spike.
Okay. And,
it was called The Impossible Game because it was quite difficult. It was not impossible. But it was very, very difficult to get to the end. And, it's very similar to this, where you just keep going for a while, and then as soon as you die, you're just immediately popped back to the beginning. But it's the same map every time, which was the difference.
Sorry, this is a little uglier.
It is, but...
Oh! I hate it when I hit my head.
Yeah. I think the worst drop, like, the one is when you drop. Like, when you just kind of lose wind and just nosedive.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ah. Nice save. The other thing I'm curious about is, like, is it fun to play just to go in the open space, even if you're not playing the game as it's meant?
I mean, it moves you towards the mountain.
Okay.
I think I mean it I don't know if I would just sort of like casually move around in the world. I'm just trying to figure out like how I would do that. You know, because if I go this way, eventually I warp away, I think.
Gotcha. There's more curiosity than
Hello.
Hello.
What's up? I'll sit back here and I'll eat for a bit, but then I'll join you at the deck.
Okay. So it wants you to move towards those, towards the danger in a lot of ways.
So it doesn't just reward risks, it forces the risk.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the game, right?
That's true.
If you don't play this game to just fly around and not hit stuff.
I mean...
Whoa! It's interesting that it kind of disintegrates into,
little boxes?
well, little boxes, but also kind of green stuff. I'm not sure what the green stuff is.
Yeah.
You know, this is a...
Maybe the portals are all of the previous iterations.
Oh, smack. So yeah, this is another game we were talking about last time of sort of attempting in some. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say a non-referential.
But you get the money sounds.
Yeah, you get the money sounds, and you get the sort of. It does have. This idea of adventure and personal risk attached to it, and I think that it doesn't move towards signifying any sort of.
I love watching the instant replay on the screen.
Yep.
It doesn't move towards any sort of culture per se, but I think it does. I think. You know, there's definitely a sort of extreme sports type idea kind of around it, even though you're floating through these surrealistic landscapes. It's kind of impossible landscapes.
It's kind of got like an American, at least to me, what feels like an American sense of what freedom is.
Okay.
Like, and then that's kind of complicated by the sense that you're bound to crash. But like, just like kind of, you're like flying around and like you're free to choose where you want to go. Because like freedom in different countries means a lot of different things. In America, freedom is like really just like defined as being like very like open-ended, you know. And that's kind of what this kind of feels like to me. Like,
yeah.
Fly wherever you want. Kind of freedom.
Well, and there is sort of an American inevitability in this sort of, or an American ideal in the sort of inevitable death kind of thing in the American West. You know, this sort of honorable. Oh, smack.
That was really cool, though.
From those wind tunnels.
This kind of honorable death, seeking out adventure and pleasure in some sort of ways, I think is fairly American. Which isn't. I don't know if this is an American publisher, to be honest, but
We'll find out.
yeah.
Well, we're translating it to our cultural context.
Yeah. Oh, I missed it.
Rough.
Now, I know we don't talk about this very much on the show, but I'm just curious, how much does this game cost to buy new?
It is less than $4.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Not to say like that it's not interesting or that but like, you know what I mean? Like you could see, like this is like an extreme example of like the difference between like a AAA title and like an indie title to some degree, right?
What go ahead.
Nope, I'm eating a sandwich.
Oh, okay.
It's not from America. I'll let you guess what country it is.
Oh.
France.
Nope.
Belgium.
Nope. You're both close though, geographically speaking.
Germany?
Yup.
Oh, okay. I don't know how time-consuming this was to develop. It seems fairly straightforward once you get the, oops.
Wow.
Once you get the, the map generation kind of down.
Nice.
I suppose there's hit detection and all that other stuff, but once you have that kind of in there, it's pretty much done. There isn't a lot of, there's no story to develop. There's nothing that we sort of associate with longer games in here. It's very straightforward.
I wonder if, I bet you a lot of the, labor hours went to, making these randomly generated maps that still, have, to make sure that each map, because, randomly generated doesn't mean purely random, right? It means,
yeah,
generated within certain parameters, and I bet you figuring out those parameters for making for, engaging levels to fly through, while still being, random enough that, you feel like you're experiencing, hopefully, different levels
Oh,
every
that
time.
was so rude.
Yeah, well, I think it seems like what they have to kind of consider is making the tunnels challenging, but
Not impossible.
yeah, and I think it feels like there's holes, or it feels like there's just caverns that you can get stuck in, but I don't know if that's true. I feel like all of the holes in the geography you can fly through if you do it, if you're lucky, or if you know where you're going. It looks like if you go into a cavern, there's going to be a way out, even if it's extremely difficult to do that. And so I think that was part of it too, making sure that it was still navigable. Oh, crap.
Kind of returning to our American capitalist culture, the dollar signs.
Yeah.
Is it just points you're getting, or is it money?
No, it's points.
It's interesting that it's characterized auditorily as making bank,
Yeah, we were talking about that. I think that, but it has this really satisfying sound once the points are cashed in. That ka-ching is very satisfying. Yeah.
Now, is it because of, do you feel like it's because of the cultural value, or just because it's a nice dingy sound?
I don't know if there's a way to answer that without it being a cultural value, right? I think it's a pleasing sound. I don't know. Maybe you can answer that better than I can because of having a music theory background. I mean, it's a pleasing sound, and I would guess that it was easily reproducible when cash registers were initially created.
Yeah.
But it was also chosen as a sound because it's a pleasing
I mean, I guess,
noise.
yeah, because I think of, sleigh bells and jingle bells and all sorts of, those ringing percussion. So, but then that's still cultural because we're brought up with tonal music.
Right.
And a lot of those things are used in churches and...
that's true.
Music of that nature.
Man.
So
I totally
maybe not
conveyed it.
necessarily capitalist culture, but other forms of culture. I think for very similar reasons, I find the sound of dice pleasing because I like the sound of dice, and also it makes me think of D&D. But someone else might like the sound of dice because it reminds them of gambling. And that's something that pleases them, and that association.
Yeah. Or they could have a negative connotation of it because of gambling. Ooh.
Could be worse. Could be Pink City again.
So when you go all the way down to the bottom, is that a death, or does that just you continue from the top?
you continue from another another map, but you don't get, when you go through a portal, you get a 1,000-point bonus. But if you fall or go off the map, you just go into another map. Oh shoot!
So close.
Yeah, this game would be really. I think I think this game would probably not be nearly as fun if there wasn't this like getting close to things and counting up on. You know what I mean? Like this point system.
Yeah.
Because like flying is intrinsically maybe enjoyable, but I think it probably wears thin.
Yeah. Well, I was, Kelly had asked if it's enjoyable to just sort of fly around, and well, the other thing I was thinking when you asked that, like, you have to go towards the mountain, because if you just kind of fly off in the other direction, there's nothing to visually symbolize you moving, and in some ways,
That might make you feel stuck.
right, and in some ways, the act of flying is the act of that freedom is the act of being able to see how you're moving against something that is more limiting. Like, if I had to traverse this like a normal human would, that would be very limiting and very difficult, whereas seeing it from the flight gives you a different perspective on it, and moving around it and within it gives you that feeling of kind of conquering the landscape.
Reminds me a little bit of genres of old that are no longer as popular. But like back in like the late 90s, like the most popular genre of games on the PC was flight simulators.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I remember playing those as a kid, and the funnest thing to do with them was to crash when you're a kid. I think as you grow older, maybe there was an interest in sort of conquering the difficulty of making sure that you were flying and not crashing and using the instruments properly and all this other stuff. But when you're a kid, you're like, well, I want to get into the air and then I want to crash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that makes me think of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where like, all right, how can we launch everyone off this roller coaster?
Right. Oh, this is a pretty one.
Or like creative sim death.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're picking up speed, right? Like you're going a lot faster now than you were at the beginning.
I don't know. I'm not sure what my relationship to speed is. I think as I...
There's no miles per hour mark or anything.
No. When you're done, do you want to play it after I crash here?
Oh, sure. Don't crash though.
I hope you.
Oh!
So close.
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
It's WSAD.
That one might have broken your record had you gotten out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try this out. Okay. Just click.
Yeah. You don't need the mouse. Oh, yeah.
All right. So just WASD.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Okay. First go flying. Alright. Let's see how. I like one fast.
It's funny seeing the different
Oh.
styles. Where like Nathan stays around the corners and Eric's just dive bombing.
I'm just trying to get my feel for it, so I might as well do something visually interesting.
Whoa! Oh! Close there.
Yeah, my dad was like one of those people in the late 90s who really, really enjoyed like the flight simulator. Like we had like in our family the kind of the joy, like the thing that you could do to be like a
Yeah.
like, you know, and like all that kind of stuff. And so I had like a pretty I I had like experienced that like maybe more than most people did growing up. I love like the reacting to. Oh, there's nothing to go. There's nowhere to go. I like making like quick reactions. Like that's what I like about roguelike games.
Yeah, because you don't. I mean, the way this.
Is this? Am I getting like the same level every time, or is it just always? It seems to always have this hole.
No. This is the same level, but so the next time you crash, you can go to map and you can type in a seed to create a different one.
Oh, okay.
So you can keep doing the same one over and over again.
That's actually really nice.
And once you come upon one that you like, you can like write down the seed so that you get it again. But there's something very satisfying about this.
Oh no. Okay. There's a way out.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I like when there's like pillars and stuff. You kind of want to like bounce between the pillars so you can keep the combo moving.
Mm-hmm.
I find that really satisfying. All right, let's head down to the next level. I assume that all these other like structures and stuff don't do anything.
No, if you headed that way, you would go off the map and go to a different level.
Okay. And so, I flew too close to the sun. Oh, this looks. Oh, I'm in a different map now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever map you die on is the one that you'll start again on.
Okay, so that's cool. Stay close. Stay close. Let's get this ×4 multiplier.
Oh!
Christ.
Gotta take risks.
Oh! Oh my God!
Christ.
×4. Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm trying to go. I didn't get any combo at all.
Yeah, that's the risk you gotta take. Like you can keep going
hilarious.
as long as you want.
Hey, Leia. We're flying.
Yup.
You can keep going as long as you want. But if you... Here, do you want to sit here so you can get picked up by the mic?
Oh, yeah, sure. Wow, we moved everything around.
Yeah.
We did.
Wowza.
It was really fun redecorating. And really satisfying. Everything is clean now.
Oh, no, down. Oh, yeah.
You're getting some achievements unlocked for me. Good job.
I actually really like this. It's like a quicker gameplay loop of the kind of thing that I really enjoy. For like
So what are we playing?
Superflight, and this is it.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
We can do this. Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. So it's like human fall flat, except for in the air.
Well, simpler than human fall flat.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about actually doing any puzzles or anything.
Right.
It's kind of like a reckless disregard for gravity.
Yeah.
But that has designed levels that you are supposed to traverse.
Right.
And this one is it's randomly generated, and
Okay.
you just have to get close to
Cool.
a big rock.
Yep.
This one's ugly. I'm gonna fly away. It's ugly.
You can. Have you seen any of the warp things?
I have seen a couple of them, but like oftentimes I think that they're like hard, like because when you see them, you're already like you're too low to like get to them or something. Oh.
Whoa!
Nice. What?
Oh, that was a little too sensitive. Like I tapped the. I tapped the. I don't really like the way this one looks. I like the ones that look like the Mojave Desert or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got kind of the different. Well, the aesthetic. I mean, it's interesting because it
That's
doesn't.
how you skip a level.
The aesthetic is interesting because. I'm not sure. I think a lot of it has to do with the color of the blocks.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has to do with sort of the fog
Very
effect.
little combos with this one.
Only with that attitude.
Whatever.
Whoa. Ooh. Oh,
Nice.
wow. They really plopped you into the middle of this one.
Oh my god. So you just have to get down, or is there a specific spot that you
I'm
should
trying to
down?
get like as high of a score as possible. Let's go for this portal.
There we go. Woo.
I like this
Wintry.
Yeah.
If I die here, I'll be happy.
In winter?
Like I'm more willing to take risks now because I'm like, ooh, this one looks pretty interesting. Oh, cool! I can't believe I kept that combo going.
one. Yeah.
There it goes. But at least we got the points on like the top.
Yeah.
We had like 8,000, and we didn't even just run into a wall. Oh, I better find a way out.
So what are combos?
Combos are, well, I think the multipliers happen if you stick with being close to a wall for a fairly long period of time.
Yay.
The combos happen when you go like between two walls.
Okay, gotcha.
So when you hit a tunnel or go through a tunnel, you get a higher score than if you are just
Right.
skirting
so the
around.
harder thing you do,
Yeah.
the more points you get. Ooh.
Ooh, this one's pretty.
Are you still on the same run?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nope.
Oh.
All right. Well, that was a pretty good one. Huh? I'm ranked 131,000, so I still got a little ways to go.
Can you imagine doing it for? I have no idea what the highest score is, but it must have taken so much time to do it. If you're,
I wonder, maybe it's more like somebody did something really dangerous and got their multiplier like up to like really high.
yeah, maybe.
Ooh, pink. All right, Kelly doesn't like it.
Nasty. I hate the ones that is so hazy.
Ooh, this one's neat. Okay, up.
Oh. Oh.
This is a fun game.
Yeah.
Leia, you should try it.
It's
Should I
also-
though?
Oh.
I don't know.
Anyone else? Yeah, want to
No.
give it a
It's
shot?
really easy to pick up.
It's
I
like
mean,
it's only one
Uh-huh.
hand. Like I
Yeah.
can literally sit here like this and like play the game. Like I love that.
I like how the two people who are like, yeah, we play computer games, WASD all the time. This is nothing, and the two people who don't are like, haha, nope.
you'll crash a few times, but you'll get the hang of it.
There's an
Nathan, you have seen me die. I have heard your reactions to me dying in the stupidest ways.
Oh, darn! I was hoping to keep that one going. I want to go for long combos. It's like I find those to be really interesting. I love like the risk reward of just being like, you've been like doing this combo for a really long time,
Right.
and like just like that feeling of like I want to keep it going. Like that's a really satisfying. Up.
Yeah, because you don't know exactly
Is it
what
gonna work?
you don't know exactly what you're going to encounter as you go through it, right?
Mhm.
So that's the whole risk thing of it. Is
Right.
it's like I could fly away right here and cash this in, or I could keep going, not knowing what I'm going to encounter and possibly run into a wall.
Can you guys imagine the people who do this in real life, like cave diving and shit?
Oh, I know.
This is foolish. This is
Well, at least, although I will say with that, you usually don't explode if you fall.
That's true. Well,
You
that
might.
depends on how far
Yeah.
you fall. The human body does some weird shit when it falls from great heights.
I was actually trying to exit the level for you, Kelly, so it's not ugly
it's all
pink.
good.
Whoa.
So what are the controls? Like how is it? So, it's
So-
WASD.
And then it's
That's it.
inverted, so W is down and
Oh,
A
God.
is
Okay.
A is up, just like in like normal like flight simulator.
Yeah. So
Like
you're
normal
pitching.
flight simulators that I have played many times.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, if you think about it, you're pitching your head forward when you go W, and you're pitching
This
it
is
backward
worse.
when you do A.
All right, I see a hole. I'm gonna do go straight down.
This is not too bad. Honestly.
Why don't you like the fogginess?
I don't like not seeing stuff.
Oh. Why?
Because I like to be
Well,
able to
I don't
see
think I'm gonna
stuff.
make it out of this one.
Oh my god, you are doing it, man.
Damn!
Nice. I think there's also a level of needing to just like not overreact when things happen. 'Cause,
Oh,
like,
definitely.
When you overcorrect.
Yeah.
There I go.
Yeah, I think that's what would happen to me. I would overcorrect and run into everything.
This one.
Alright, I'll try
Not
to
that
stay
you
here.
need my approval.
Well, I want you guys to enjoy the game too.
Oh, I'm enjoying watching you play this game.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Oh.
I saw that little hole there, and I was like, I'll go for that, and it was like way further away than I expected.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's kind of interesting about it, because it's hard to really see in 3D where you're kind of going. You'll be like, that wall isn't too far away, smash, you know.
I like that you put up the Milwaukee Design Fest poster.
Yep. So my favorite one that I did is that. I feel very clever for.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Oh, we're leaving this one.
So, we found flyers from conferences. From
Yeah, that was that. I meant to respond.
Yeah.
Did you guys throw them out?
No.
Okay, good.
No. I tried to give it to Maureen, but I wanted to use it for my students first, so I took it downstairs with my students to look at how, like, the genre of the advertisement hasn't changed.
Yeah. So have you given them to Maureen yet?
I went back up and her baby was sick, so she wasn't home. Oh, well,
Okay.
she was home.
So those are
She
extra.
wasn't home. Oh.
She wasn't in her office.
So those are actually extra flyers that I had taken for whatever, like here or wherever we want to decorate with. So C21 doesn't need them. We'll just pitch them if you give them back. So if you want to do something with them, we could do something with them. Otherwise, I will take them home.
Yeah, you can take them if you know that they have a copy.
They do. I did all of the archival work for that.
Okay.
That's why we got some
Ooh.
of those.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
They have all the copies they want,
Okay.
at the very least.
The one from 1983 was made on very nice cardstock.
Yes. Back in the day when they had money, they printed all their posters on cardstock here.
Wow.
Easy to get into one of these portals.
Oh, phew.
Explorer. Okay. Oh no.
I
Oh
like
no, this is
one.
bad.
Don't die on this one. I mean, do die on this one.
Don't die. Wait, I mean, dude, I like it.
Well, no, it's not too cloudy. The colors
Yeah.
are nice.
Colors are nice.
So Kelly and Leia, I'm interested
No.
in.
I like this one. It's very green. Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm interested in your reluctance to play on Twitch in terms of
Oh, I am just reluctant to play. That is
Uh-huh.
that is not a Twitch thing.
I'm reluctant to play on things that I can't guarantee I'm going to be super good at. Until if I'm going to play something, I need to have at least practiced it a little bit before I play it on stream.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not so much because I do digital games and I do enjoy them and I'm good at some of them. But if I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want to learn on stream.
Interesting. Yeah, because I have no problem looking like a boob on stream, because I know I'm not very good at some games, and some games I'm fine at, you know. But it's not something I'm particularly self-conscious of.
I just.
Oh wait, no. We're just gonna go through. I was
Yeah.
like, portals? And I was like, no. I have a high score right now. I don't want to let go of this run. I definitely feel like when I just died, like I just take like a super risk right away. But when sorry, I kind of ran
No,
over
you're
what you guys
fine.
were talking about. But when like I have like a really good game going here, where I like this time, this is like my 8th level, I think.
Expert.
I don't know why I don't. I think that part of it is like, do people really want to watch
fly
me
through that.
just die over and over again? Because I die a lot. Like,
I've seen you play Don't Starve.
yeah.
I think
I
everybody
die less
dies
in
in
that game actually than I do in other
I'm not gonna
ones,
make
which is hilarious. Except for in the winter. I can't survive more than 3 days in the winter.
Ooh.
But yeah,
like it's a level full of fart clouds.
But there is when you. Well, I don't get sort of self-conscious or nervous about playing a new game on or off stream at this point, because I know that there's going to be a learning curve, and I'm much more comfortable with taking risks on a video game, especially at the beginning, because I'm like, if I screw it up, I can start over, right?
Sorry.
Out of curiosity, I'm not doing like trying to like paint art. Where do you fall in like the sibling lineup?
I am the youngest.
Okay. I was just curious because so for me, you know, I'm one of 8.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many controllers. If you die, then you just have to sit and watch everyone. So the act of dying is very frustrating for me.
Oh, interesting.
Because that means I would have to relinquish the controller and wait until who knows when my turn is next.
Interesting.
I just got a 4,000 bonus. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
The so close exclamation point.
Interesting.
Super close to something, but not dying.
Which was fortunate because I'm just trying to keep this one going. I want to be in the top 100K.
I don't know. We didn't have video games growing up in my house, so we didn't really have that controller sharing bit. And then when we did have them, it's because
this is probably my favorite one so far.
It's a good color scheme. We did have them; they were mine. So if I wanted to play, it was my turn.
See, even when it was mine, we had to share.
I think part of it is that, like, I didn't get it till I was 18, right? And so, like, I had some say over the things that were mine. I think if I had gotten it, you know, earlier, that my mom probably would have been like, no, Leia, you have to share. But once you turn 18, you're living in the house, you're an adult.
Yes.
Like, it's harder for parents to be like,
culture.
Yeah.
What?
Nice.
But I don't. It's probably because I got a lot of shit when I died a lot.
Interesting.
When I would play the little bits that I played with like my guy friends and stuff, like they were all so much better than me, and I would just die immediately. And so I don't know.
Well, you're both you're both talking about communal gaming that I didn't have as much of.
Give a life.
Nice.
That's the achievement we just got.
And I think the other thing that you bring up, and it also is like partially the social gaming aspect, like within the home, but also the issue of, if you failed, like if a guy sucks at a game, he sucks at the game. If a girl sucks at a game, it's because girls suck at games. Like that sort of nagging thing in the back of my head. So if I can't prove that I'm good at the game, then I'm going to play into the assumption that girls can't do video games.
Oh.
And while I know that is logically silly and not as much the case anymore, it was very much the case for me growing up.
Well, and that's still the case in a lot of communities, and particularly on Twitch, which is still very masculine as a community.
This is it. 43.
Holy
I got the top
shit.
50,000. Yes.
That's awesome. Good job. Damn, son. Okay. And there are and the games that I know that I literally you just can't fuck them up. I will play them. No problem. Like I play on stream all the time.
Ooh. You turn really sharply when you do like down. Oh gosh. Oh, there's nowhere to go. Okay.
Or like I think maybe games. I don't know if this would fall into this or not. Games where you're supposed to kind of die a lot. Like it's really funny when you die. So like Limbo. They have some crazy deaths in Limbo. Like those bodies flop in places. Those are just funny. And so I feel like there's an entertainment value to dying, right? In those instances. And it's a puzzle game, and so your death is kind of like, oh, you haven't figured out the puzzle yet. Which is different than this, but I couldn't tell you how necessarily.
No, that brings up a lot of really interesting things for me in terms of, I mean, the sexism in gaming, communal gaming versus individual gaming, all that plays into, and it's, I'm kind of fascinated by gaming, at least my gaming on Twitch versus my gaming.
This is my new favorite.
Versus my gaming just by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I'll take extra risks.
Trying to create an interesting stream knowing that I'm being observed as opposed to playing a game.
I didn't go for that for you.
Theoretically, I suppose.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
No.
How it's meant to be played, right?
Right.
But then again, there's games that are kind of designed for Let's Plays and Twitch. Like, and this, I don't know, this might be one of them just because it doesn't matter how often you die. You're inevitably going to die. There isn't story moments that you have to worry if people are paying attention or not paying attention.
Oops.
For me, like, I think the thing that I get the most out of games in general is I love just feeling like I did good at something.
Mm-hmm.
Like feeling like that sense of maybe accomplishment, mastery of learning how to do something new, or dying. And
well,
so
you're talking at the same time,
yeah,
which always makes it that much.
Yeah, my best run was I stopped talking. I just let you guys do it. But for me, since that's what I really enjoy, I don't mind playing a game even if I'm not super good at it on stream, because for me what I find enjoyable is that active processing what's working and what's not working and how to improve at something and stuff like that.
So if I had played this game even just once on my own, I would be perfectly comfortable playing it on Twitch.
Mm.
But I think that it is similar to what Kelly was saying earlier, is I don't the first time I did no. just no.
What was that, man?
I was trying out some different. I want to see how I can get out of here. Okay, let's try and approach it from the other angle. Go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where I was going with that.
That's okay.
That was an emergent goal, right? I just saw that and I was I want to go in there and get out, and then I was able to just kind of do it.
And now you're satisfied.
A little. I'd be more satisfied if I break my high score again. We got on time. Do I have time to break my high score again?
If you keep this run up.
Alright. Well, say goodbye to your fave level. Okay, come on.
I think also part of it is that I don't get the feeling of accomplishment from video games. There's a satisfaction in completing something, but it's not for me specifically. So when I look at other people, right, I'm like, oh wow, you're so good at that, that's so cool, good for you accomplishing something. But when I am playing myself, it doesn't feel like accomplishment. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
So it's interesting to dissect how different people feel about different different the different feelings you get from gaming, because they change person to person, right? But I hear a lot of people talk about that accomplishment feeling, and there's something to having a really awesome success, when you've been working on a boss for a really long time and then kill that boss.
Yeah, definitely.
Whoa. I went through something and I got
But that's still not
awesome and
accomplishment
so
for me, and I don't really know why, actually, now that
points
I'm
off the
thinking about it. But
I mean, it kind of brings up why.
You just kind of flopped over the edge on that one.
Well, now what
broke your legs.
Now what I want to do is I want to try to fly really close to things, and then just barely not hit them, because you get that bonus, the so close bonus,
right,
and
yeah.
I want to get the so close bonus.
Whoa! What the hell?
There was a
I didn't even see it. I'm like, what happened there? Yeah, that kind of brings up why do you play video games? And I'm not. I mean, I don't know if I could.
To put off papers.
Well. I don't know if I could essentialize it. I'm not really sure.
Oof. Just right into that corner.
Because I was thinking, you know, you want an accomplishment when you finish the game, but I finished so few games in my life. You know, the amount of games that I've played versus the amount of games that I finished is...
very different.
Yes. Very different.
I like organize my whole Steam library by like finished, currently playing,
yeah,
high interest, low interest, stuff like that. And the finished is like just games I'm done with. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not always games that I beat, right? This one is like weirdly same directional. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, go ahead, Leia.
I don't know.
Whoa! Oh.
Why do I play video games? Krista Lee talks about this a lot because she thinks it's hilarious the way that I talk about video games. Because I Twitch stream because it makes me play them.
Okay.
Like I very rarely play games on my own that I am not streaming.
Okay.
I'm actually the same with my wife. I like to, but like now I don't stream, but I know.
I'm only with my wife when I'm streaming.
Sorry, I meant it. I get way more enjoyment out of playing video games when my wife is there watching with me. Yeah. Like to the point where like I won't play games that I'm interested in because I want her to be watching me when I'm playing.
Right, there's a communal aspect to that. Yeah. I think that's got to be part of it. Is like I really enjoy playing games when there are people in chat.
Yeah.
And there is a big difference in the way that I play here on stream with you guys and the way that I stream by myself.
Okay.
Like I am way more willing to like stream games that I've never played before on my own than I am here, and I don't really understand that at all. Because you guys are awesome, and it's not like, you know, there would be any judgment here.
Right.
But there is something different between people watching you on stream and people watching you in the room. Like when you're sharing local space with people, like there's difference in behavior for me. For sure. But yeah, Crystal Lee laughs at me because I talk about it like trying to make a habit of playing video games because I haven't played video games.
Right.
But I want to be playing video games because I think that it will be good for my scholarship.
Okay, interesting.
In terms of like talking about gamer communities and stuff, being able to have played the games that my people are playing, like that's important for me in terms of like experiencing and participating in their cultural milieu because I'm kind of like walking into kind of new gamer spaces.
Okay.
For my dissertation research, and so I'm trying to like do that. And it's not that I don't enjoy them, right? Like I really like gaming, but I wouldn't do it without an external reason.
Okay.
Trying to dissect why I play games.
Well, Kelly, what do you think? Because I know you played games when you were a kid. Obviously not academically. Or maybe academically. Maybe academically, I don't know.
If you count like yeah, I mean, I remember my first console was a Nintendo 64 because my friend had one and we played Super Smash Brothers on it and I wanted it.
Okay.
So at that point, I just played video games 24/7. Like, genuinely, that was like all I did all day, minus like playing music. So it was either one or the other. And then I stopped playing my second or third year of college because games were just... like the games that I was, at least, because I wasn't a PC gamer, were just starting to get online with voice chat. And then that's when I stopped playing games because voice chat was so incredibly toxic and all of the gameplay was moving towards the online experience. I love this level. But anyway, the games were moving more on an online experience because the online experience was so shitty for me, I stopped playing. From when I was like second year of college till literally when I joined Serious Play.
Would you, when you first started gaming, were you playing mostly single player games or multiplayer games?
Multiplayer.
Who were you playing with then?
My siblings and my cousins.
Okay.
So, because I had no shortage of either.
Yeah. But you did play Final Fantasy.
I did, but I played it with my sisters next to me.
Okay.
And, I mean, yeah, it was mostly my sisters who watched because they were interested in it. My brothers were always on a different system.
Okay.
Like, it was like, not necessarily like the girls and the boys, it was just how it kind of, hashed out because, yeah, we were on mostly PlayStation and Nintendo, and they had Xbox.
Okay.
So, but yeah. Even the single player games we took turns on and watched each other play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that
or Resident Evil too. That was one that I made because we all love horror games, but like I was like 7 when I forget when Resident Evil 1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was under 10.
Yeah, you were 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We're the same age. We're a month apart. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was scared, but I loved it. So my older cousin, who's like 6 years older than me, he would come over and play it, and we would just stay up all night playing Resident Evil.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like very communal.
Yeah.
I also, all of my gaming experience, up until I got my gaming PC. Well, that's not true. I guess I played Guitar Hero on my own a lot when I first got my first PS2. But almost all my gaming experience is communal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have a console. And so the limited amount that I did do before I turned 18 was all with my guy friends at one of their houses.
The vast majority of my gaming experience was solitary, playing on specifically portable like Game Boys and Nintendo DS. Like that was me growing up, was having, because like my parents were divorced, and less like every other week I would travel like 8 hours almost, like both ways, like to go visit my dad and stuff. So like a lot of just time spent playing like Pokemon on my Game Boy in the car or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like a McDonald's taste tester, so that meant we traveled all over the Upper Peninsula, and like. So
that's a crazy. Okay. That's a very interesting job.
So I don't.
That's a job that I didn't know existed.
So for me, a lot of gaming was solitary, like thing to do to pass the time while you're traveling or something along those lines.
So when did you get a console the first time?
My first console was my cousins had a Nintendo 64, and like they lived right next, like literally next door to my grandma growing up. So that was like my first instance of playing like a console video game, that was like Super Mario 64 and Smash Bros. And then we got a GameCube maybe like around a year after it came out, and that was my first real console.
Okay.
So that would be like 2002. So I would have been like 10 at that point. But I had a Game Boy like from right when it came out. My mom got me like Pokemon. She thought I don't know. She must have thought it was cool or something. She always called me Squirtle. Probably still does call me Squirtle.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. I do find like people's relationship with gaming really interesting. Like their personal relationship with gaming very interesting. To get back to Kelly, when you said you found the online games to be really toxic, what?
Like voice chat. Like I back before I had motion sickness, I played Call of Duty so much. Like that I was training to do tournaments with people. And I was one of 2 women in like a group of 10. And it was just extreme. And these were like the people that were my friends, and it was still rape type of things whenever like I would mess up. Like they would just say stuff like that. And I just kind of got tired of it after a while, and then I had to move around. Parents got divorced and stuff like that. So I didn't have much of an incentive to continue with games as much as I would have liked to when I could have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting sick of the environment on online gaming, I don't think is particularly unique, especially for women. I was just curious, like, what was the difference when you did that in how it felt to play against other people remotely versus doing it like on a couch type situation?
Yeah, like local versus non-local.
Sorry, can you reword that?
I'm just curious because you had been playing communally for so long, and then you started to play remotely in Call of Duty. What was the difference for you?
It was I prefer playing communally or with friends remotely. I'm okay with playing with randos remotely as well because now I play Overwatch and I enjoy it because most of the time you do get some shitty people, but most of the time people are more encouraging than in Call of Duty. So I'm not saying that there's no difference. I just genuinely think it was just the culture of that time with the people I was with and the kinds of people that I was encountering. So
well, that would have been like what, 2012?
Yeah, which is right before Gamergate.
Right.
So because I started in 2009, so it was probably like 10, 11, so a little before then, but still. And at that time, all of us, I moved to online not just because that's what the game sisters were going for, but also all of my siblings and I all got displaced from one another when my parents divorced, so I was the only one left in the place. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna play online, and then so that was the change that forced from the interactive all together to the online.
Did you play with your siblings?
Oh, all the time. Well, in person when we were together.
No, I meant.
And then once we all went to different homes, not so much because it was just it was such a hectic time. We stopped playing together.
Yeah.
It is 103.
It is 103.
Oh wow.
We keep doing this where we have really great conversations and then we just want to keep.
I have to go to office hours, so you guys can keep talking on stream. That's fine. I better
go to work.
Student is there and
And
do you actually have students come? Does that actually ever happen for you?
I had a student today ask me when my office hours are.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep, so
but I don't think that they're going to be coming today. So I probably won't, but I like to respect the institution of office hours, you know.
Wait, it's whatever.
It's a fun game. Thank you, Nathan, for letting me play for a little while.
Absolutely.
I like the new console setup.
Yeah.
Yep. That is Ryan.
Well, I think we should say goodbye then.
Peace out.
We are.
It's all you, Kelly. I've got all the controls.
I know, but Nathan's talking. I wasn't just gonna stop.
Oh, we're doing Heaven's Vault tomorrow and the Cat's Mustache.
We got D&DMs today.
Yep.
Part 2 of the finale.
I am so excited.
And
this current campaign's ending, so.
I mean, the campaign's not ending, but the arc is ending.
Okay.
This current campaign arc is ending.
Yeah.
And next week we'll be starting on the Lunch Zone our sort of annual scary games. Maybe Layers of Fear 2. We'll see. Okay. Thanks, everybody.